No dog sold or raised for illegal purposes. This is a historical and entertainment-based channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, yeah. Episode 18. Yeah. Yeah. Let go. Significant pit Amstaffs of the past. A deeper look at the TBBoy dogs. The Cottingham and Eli or Cottingham and Chinaman debate. Let us analyze the evidence on this episode of Bulldog Court. Bulldog community, please rise. This is your host, Get a Hold Journalist. Because we got to get a hold of the game.
Court is now in session.
We back for another one. Episode 18 of Bulldog Court. This is your host, Get a Hold James. Because we got to get a hold of the game. You're under dig. I'd like to thank everybody for checking out on last week my random open forum live. Did a little something different, from the Sporting Dog Archive channel. We'll try to do that a little bit more just to get some live feedback, try to work in a few live points to try to get better at live, and maybe I can do a few more Bulldog Courts live. I haven't went live since episode number 9 with my people, Nonstop and J-Bo from Bulldogging with Bo. For sure. Got to give them a round of applause. And, the tremendous job that they've been doing over there consecutively, And so, probably be trying to do that a lot more. Maybe try to get some more special guests and what have you. But I digress. We won't stress. We're going to get into these court cases. And for the first case, significant pit Amstaffs of the past. Let us look into this. We're going to cover a few of these, We know that this is commonplace, common practice within the Bulldog community of having, a pit bull mixed with an Amstaff. And in many cases, if you do your research on a lot of these pit, Amstaffs, the Amstaffs also go back to pure pits. So that just was a name that was given to them in most cases. Some were shipped in from overseas. Some were transformed or transcribed into Amstaffs from the American Pit Bull Terriers, because many of the old timers were said to have seen the writing on the wall, and that these what were famous warriors would become, unattractive, I guess when America, a certain type of Americans became uppity, so uppity that there was beneath them to have that type of blood sport going on. They said, oh, no, that's not a good, good thing to do anymore, even though we made a lot of money gambling off of it. The police, the lawyers, the judges, and everybody else included. But I digress. So one of the first significant, pit bull Amstaffs I want to look at is the Buffalo Soldiers Grand Champion Farrar. That's right. Good old Buffalo Soldier. Salute to the general. And his grand champion of the past, Grand Champion Farrar. We want to take the time to look at this pedigree on this fine animal and let you know what's what about this animal. Okay, so Farrar was off of Buffalo Soldiers champion Thunderball. Now Thunderball was the Amstaff. He had some game blood in him too, but he was, mostly on Amstaff with the old Tacoma Jack, Tacoma Mike type blood in him from the Amstaff blood, bred to Buffalo Soldiers Queen Bee. Now Queen Bee was a heavy Mayfield inward dog. Pretty much straight, tight bred Mayfield inward, heavy tutor dog. Now this dog won at least 6, and I think going for number 7 Farrar lost in an hour and 40. Just went one too many times, I guess, but just another example of an animal that and I said, like I said on one of the shows I was on, I think I was on Dogman TV. I was on that show and I was talking about the fact that Thunderball was the dog that Buffalo Soldier, I think he stuffed him. Because he said, of all the dogs, that was his favorite one. But an outstanding animal from an outstanding yard. But that's the more modern. I think Grand Champion Farrar was like 72 pounds on the chain, and he was conditioned and campaigned at 55 pounds. So just enormous dog. Real big dog. Did a lot of good stuff. But I just wanted to highlight these animals of the more modern era, even though these dogs was probably in the 80s or 90s, but of the newer era. And we're not talking about the 1800s. It was a boatload of pit bulls and American Staffordshire Terrier mixed together back then. I think that was more commonplace back then than now, or at least that's what people telling us. We see where these animals were in here and there still being used as a cross, with the American Pit Bull Terrier and American Staffordshire Terrier. Some people really don't see a difference between the two in certain instances, except for one was used for combat, the other was used for conformation and show work. And so another one is Champion Nut Nut, which is a half brother to Baca Reed's Champion Tyrone. Is another half Amstaff, half pit bull, of the more modern era. That was an exceptional animal. That was a champion and beat top-notch competition on his way to doing so and to becoming what he became. Champion Nut Nut was bred off of Sertimer's Firecracker Jr. Now on the top side, Sertimer's his sire, Nut Nut's sire, the top side was Staffordshire. Firecracker was half Staffordshire through the ruffian blood and half Honey Bunch through the Grand Champion We Hunt stuff. Also Negro Honey Bunch breedings. And then they took the Firecracker Jr. and bred to Baca Reed's Champion Tyrone's mother, his dam, which was a heavy Stompanato bred female. So Honey Bunch Stompanato with a quarter of Staffordshire through the ruffian blood produced the Champion Nut Nut dog. Quarter Staffordshire, 3/4 APBT. You understand? So this was a significant dog, a very devastating dog from what I understand. You can go and check out Bulldogging with Bo episode with Baca Reed as he describes in detail the performance of both Tyrone and Nut Nut and the difference between the two and the performances of each one. You can go and check that out, your underdeed. But this is just a simple overview. There are many more, but I just want to highlight two. Buffalo Soldiers Grand Champion Farrar and Parker's Champion Nut Nut. Amstaff American Pit Bull. American Staffordshire Terrier, Pit Bull Terrier. It's just something that you look into. If somebody else know any more in the modern era that are on the pads or that are in secret, because we know that some people are maybe still breeding American Staffordshire Terriers with pit bulls unknowingly to the general public, unknowingly or knowingly, maybe putting it in the pedigrees and everything, not hiding anything. Just as these two dog men did not hide the fact that they had Amstaff in their pedigree. It's clearly in the pedigree. So for the case of significant Amstaffs and pit bulls of the past, this case is now dismissed. We'll get back to the show after these important messages.
check out one of the best dog talk shows out here, Bulldoggin' with Bo, on Dogman TV, Thursdays and Sundays 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Shout out to his co-host, Nonstop.
Yeah. Now it's time for the second case. A deeper look into the T-Boy dogs. Let us look into this. When we think of the boomerang dogs of the past, we think of Baker Davis, we think of Ronnie Duhan, Wackenspach, Bennett's of the world, if you will, the other Jack Kelly. But a name that sometimes get left out is T-Boy. T-Boy is a name in a lot of years that may have had similar success to all the people who I just named before, but just not the notoriety, and for good reason. These animals were an acquired taste, if you will, and T-Boy is somebody, if you look at the pedigrees, he had been dealing with this bloodline for many, many years, because he has dogs that I can see off of Royals champion Savage Sam, and Savage Sam was a boomerang dog that lost to Black River Kennels champion Leo in a classic one, and so we see where, like I said, champion Pistol Pete, champion Rawhide, to be specific, he pretty much built his entire line of boomerang strands that he ran through these two particular males. In some way, form, or fashion, many of the boomerang dogs that he had, like T-Boy's Redman, or the OP stuff that came down off of OP, we'll see where he was using these strands, and with much success. Another one was T-Boy's OC, was one that was off of Savage Sam also too, just to put that in your mental Rolodex. And OC went on to produce a dog called T-Boy's Lou, 2-time winner, and when bred to T-Boy's Dirty Baby. Now Dirty Baby was off of T-Boy's Fat Bill and T-Boy's Red Girl coming off, of course, T-Boy's Red Man, and Fat Bill, T-Boy's Fat Bill coming off of champion Lord's Rawhide, bred to Bennett's Rita. Like I said, there was the Bennett's of the world, and the Duhans, aka Duhan Scarback, was another name for the Bennett's Rita female that was bred to Rawhide to get T-Boy's Fat Bill. All going back to, champions, Sorrell's Gator Son, another Ricky Sorrell, another name synonymous with the boomerang strands of dogs. But like I say, a lot of people, I'm sure people from Louisiana in that area never gonna sleep on T-Boy, but I'm talking about far as more the rest of the Bulldog world sleeping on the T-Boy strand of boomerang that is still somewhat intact in pockets here in America, in the States, which is hard to find in any other strands. Any of the other strands I named is going to be very difficult for you to find that type of boomerang, that concentrated enough of boomerang, with his name not in it. You understand? There's some Bennett dogs out here. There's some, some Duhans, Ricky Sorrell, here and there out here, but not many that are that heavily bred on that line. A couple of his dogs were especially heavy, specifically when you talk about boomerang off of Pistol Miss Spike. They were very heavy off of the Pistol strand on that side of the family. There were some dogs that he had that the bottom quarter was nothing but very tight bred Carver's Pistol without Miss Spike in it. We know that Pistol Miss Spike is what makes boomerang. If you didn't know, now you know. But there were certain dogs he had that had just Carver's pistol in the bottom quarter, which makes it more of a Carver's pistol than Miss Spike. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's a lot more blood in it. So that is rare within itself to find such a strand such as that in the modern era. So this is just a deeper dive, or not necessarily a deeper dive, but just an overview of looking at T-Boy. And I don't want to ever undermine the Bulldog community from doing their own due diligence, doing their own research. I'm not going to give it all to you, but you can look at it all for yourself. There's no limit on it. Oh yeah, and by the way, for those people who might be wondering, okay, well, what are the characteristics of a T-Boy dog? They're the same as any boomerang dog you might find anywhere in the world in this era or not. They are not the most talented dogs. They're deep game and extremely durable. So in the case of a deeper look at the T-Boy dogs, this case is now dismissed. Oh yeah. And for our third and final case, the Cottingham and Eli, or the Cottingham and Chinaman debate. I brought forth this question that came out of the open forum that we had on last week. Shout out to Vernon Starr for bringing this up, and I wanted to counter what he was saying, but when I thought about it, I don't think I could. And it was a very good point that he was making. We was talking about the Cottingham Chinaman cross in particular, and how consistent it has been over the years. And his counter was, well, name somebody who made a family of dogs out of the Cottingham Chinaman cross. And I couldn't think of anybody readily at the front of my mind of who could possibly have started just a line of it, even though we know, Tom Gardner has said it many a times. And also, people who observe the game, whether you dealt with the line personally or from afar, know that it has shown to be a very consistent cross. Not just that, but the Cottingham Eli with the Rufus, via Davis's champion Infamous, which is the Cottingham off of Cottingham's Red Man, bred to the St. Benedict's female, who's heavy bred on the St. Benedict's Crockermock, or Hargrove's Crockermock, Hargrove's Rufus, Eli Scran, which through Lady Infamous, through Infamous 2, for Rule and many others on down the line. I think there was an Infamous 3 also, but very consistent. I think that's about the closest I knew of that came to having that, but he had more than just those lines of dogs. Rule had the champion Booger stuff that went back to Can-Am's champion Beetlejuice. He had that line, the Booger and champion Booger and Booger Jr. and all that stuff. But that's the closest I knew of that being actually a line, a lineage of Cottingham Eli. But I just thought I would bring this up on Bulldog Court, because can anyone else approve or disapprove or counter in this case to show or disapprove, or show otherwise, or bring forth a receipt to show whether or not Cottingham Eli or Cottingham Chinaman could be validated as a strand or somebody who made it into a family of dogs? Or can somebody come forth and say the reasons why it probably won't ever be? It'll be something that's used, but only a tool. It won't ever be brought into being a line, a lineage, a family. It's just some dogs you put together from time to time and you get what you need. And for myself, being in the Bulldog world, as long as I have, find that rather strange or suspicious.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog.
Or ironic.
Come on,
that
man.
usually people running to try to make their own line of dogs. And clearly we see where two very known crosses, but no one actually made a line out of it. People consistently bred it, but not in the sense of making it a family, except for Rule with the infamous dogs. And so it's just something that I'm bringing forward before the Bulldog community. In the case of the Cottingham and Eli debate, this case is now dismissed. And now for my closing monologue. Like I say every time, make your next move your best move, but move strategic like a chess move. Hey, the weather about to change. Go ahead and stock up on all your winter supplies before the season changes. Just like a pistol, you'd rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. This is your host, Get a Hope James, because we got to get a hold of the game. I'm out.